Hey guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're looking at the Netgear Nighthawk X10, which is model number R9000, which is their creme de la creme of routers. We have got a metric boatload of stuff to go over with this, so this will be quite long, so please bear with me. And also on a quick side note, I'm not a networking professional. I do have an enthusiasm for networking products, but yeah, if you're expecting those really detailed things, this may not be the review for you. Just a heads up. So let's go through a few of the key points you need to know. Now I do want to put a primary focus on the gaming aspect of side and how you can use this to benefit you as you play. So this is one, if not the first router that now supports 802.11 AD Wi-Fi technology, as well as 802.11 AC, which helps deliver ultra smooth 4K streaming, VR gaming with instant downloads. It runs with a 1.7 GHz quad-core processor with quad stream architecture, which gives you a total of 7.2 gigabits per second of speed. It has 4 independently adjustable antennas that you can move to the best position for you. So maybe you're aiming it towards different bedrooms in your house, or maybe where you work. Another awesome feature it has Plex built into it, so you no need for any external devices. Personally for me, I use Plex off of a NAS, and this bypasses that completely. So if you're using it on a VPN, you can even access it that way. So it's really quite cool. We'll cover that of course later on. This also has a 10GB SFP plus LAN port if you wanted to go for a 10GB network. A lot of NASs are actually a more affordable price than you'd probably expect to actually have this 10GB port, so that could be a possibility for you in the future if you wanted to upgrade to get that ultra quick network. Alongside that, it's also got 6GB Ethernet ports as well. Should you want to connect an external drive, you've got 2 USB 3 ports on the side, which you can also use for your Plex video, backup to Amazon Drive, or even just for a USB printer. So this is the box that I spoke about at the very start of the video. You do get a really cool premium box as it is a premium product. Opening the flap, you will see of course the router itself. You can really easily set this up using an app if you wish, but I just went for the normal Ethernet method. On the back of that flap you have got some more information if you want to look into a little bit more detail. Nice mention there about the 802.11 AC Wi-Fi over the 60 GHz network. Again, I'll go into that in a moment. So the included accessories, you've got an AC adapter for UK and European sockets, category 5E Ethernet cable, about 2 meters in length, a quick Wi-Fi start guide, and also a firmware disk. I'd only recommend using that disk if you struggle to get online in the first place. You can set it up using the firmware that's already on there, and then just upgrade when you get your internet connection sorted. So onto the beast itself. If it doesn't look like something out of space, then I don't know what it looks like. Now one thing I'm really happy to see is it's all matte black rather than gloss, which I know they used to use on their routers, but it would always scratch up and just look horrible after a little while if you don't take care of it. So nice to see matte on this one. As you can see, there's quite a lot going on, so let's go around the actual router itself. So on the front we've got our different activity lights. We've got the one for power, network, 2.4, 5 and 60 GHz Wi-Fi, guest Wi-Fi, USB 3 ports, our 10GB SFP connection, 6GB Ethernet ports. Then you've got buttons to turn the Wi-Fi on and off, and also WPS for quick Wi-Fi pairing. It's a bit difficult to see, but there is a 40mm fan for cooling if it needs it. I'm pretty sure I've not actually seen this spin since I've been using this, and I hardly doubt it's going to be audible either. So looking at the 4 antennas, you've got a wide range of adjustability on each as well, which is great for positioning it for different rooms. For example, I have one for the office, like one for my bedroom, one for the front room downstairs. So you can adjust them perfectly to how your house is set up. They also light up blue, which is pretty cool as well. So around the business side, let's run you through what we've got. There's the AC adapter in, a power switch. You've got your 10GB SFP port for that stupidly fast connection. The yellow port's where we're going to take our Ethernet cable from our modem, or if you're in the UK, some homes are actually wired with RJ45 into the wall. Then you've got 6GB Ethernet connections, and you'll notice the 1 and 2 are actually aggregate connections. That means you can pair them together and run something that also supports aggregate at twice the speed. For me, I'm using my NAS that actually has 2 Ethernet ports on the back, which is perfect for this. They basically teams them together and they run in unison to get double speed throughput, which is great if you use it like me, which is for editing video. Means those preview files load a lot faster and it makes everything a lot easier. Then to the left of that, we've just got a simple reset switch, and then also an option to turn off the LEDs, which is quite handy. I'll show you that in a moment. The underside has got rubber if you're going to put it on a flat surface, or you've got the option to wall mount it, which is probably what will happen to mine. So on the left of the router we've got 2 USB 3.0 ports that we're going to use for Plex. The actual option for Plex isn't available unless you have a drive connected. So I wanted to try and show you the LEDs that are in the antennas and also just the ones that are on the front. The footage doesn't really do it justice, but they have got a really cool glow. Personally for me, I turn it off because it's the other side of my office and I don't really see it anyway. But it is pretty cool to see in the dark if you've got it in eyesight. Let's take a look at the web options we've got. This is simply routerlogin.net, and it will give you all of the possible settings for the router itself. We're not going to go into massive detail because we would be here for hours, but I will give you a rough outline of what's available. So the very first menu you're going to see is obviously the basic stats and what's going on the basic menu. Down the sides you've got options to set up what you're going to do with the USB ports. So if you want to set up printers, for example, or make them for backup sources, you can do. It runs you through what you need to do to set it up as well, which that's very easy to get up and running. Amazon Drive Cloud backup is included as well, which is quite nice to see. Then we've got guest networks. If you have friends or family over, for example, and you don't want them on the main Wi-Fi connection, you can put them on that one. Now you can run torrents through this as well if you so wish. It's a little bit more of a technical thing to set up. So Plex is one of the things I wanted to cover in a bit more detail. So it's simply a case of downloading it onto whatever drive you're using. For this I'm using a SanDisk SSD. As you can see there, plugged into the side of the router itself. Downloading the software is really quite simple. It automatically downloads to a device and then you run it from the router itself. So this SSD is in an enclosure, so I can simply convert it to USB 3. Now as long as it's quick enough, you can obviously use a USB drive, for example. You don't have to use an SSD. As long as it's USB 3 and it's quick enough, you should have no problems with it at all. So once you load Plex up, this is what you're going to see, the home screen once you've set up your folders. So now what you're seeing is one of my 4K RAW videos being played back over the network. And being a RAW file, it's got a massive bitrate, that's why there's a slight bit of stutter. But I have tried the actual 4K rendered file and I can play that over network, which is pretty impressive. With the usual Plex app, you've got settings to do all the different configurations of speed. So you can set up local, remote and online quality. So if you're using a VPN, you can obviously bring down the quality. If you want to stream it from home, for example, you can do so. Maybe if you want to waste some time during work and you want to watch some gameplay or a movie, you can even do that. Take a little pause if you want to look at these menus in a bit more detail. I'm just running them through quickly so the video isn't massively long. You may have seen the transcoder settings there. You can change the CPU usage. Bear in mind you have got a pretty good processor built into this router, so you could adjust that if you so wish. And there's another one of the 4K files playing back with no problems at all, even with a massive bitrate RAW file that comes from my GH4. So very impressive in that regard. And then there's also quick options to adjust it in the actual video itself. So looking into the advanced menus, obviously minus the things that I can't show you. We've got the options that we quickly looked at before. So a few of the advanced features down the side. The aggregation is one of the things that I'm using the most from my NAS. As that's got 2 ports on the back, you can make use of it and bring those 2 connections together to get double the speed as they work in unison. As I mentioned previously, it's made my editing a lot easier and more fluent, as we're not waiting for files to buffer when I voice them over. So it makes my life a lot easier, which of course you'd expect. I'm very happy about. Now the amount of home servers we're seeing is actually gradually increasing as we go on in today's society, and to have the option to have something like that in a home networking product I think is really great. People are always looking for improved speeds on their phones and laptops, so why not improve that on your network as well. Now the LEDs that are on the router itself, you can disable those if you wish remotely rather than just a switch on the back, which is quite nice. Then you've got options for VPN and also port forwarding as well. This is one thing that gamers are definitely going to be using, opening up the right ports to play online. Personally for me, I found it a lot easier than my previous router, as you could input a range of numbers rather than doing them individually. Okay, so we've had a walk around the router and all the kind of different features and functions it offers. Now to give you a conclusion. So summing this up is going to be really quite difficult, so I'm going to give it my best shot. It's quite a tricky thing to explain on how it improves, networking over what I've previously used. First of all, we've got the wired connection. This is using Cat6a cable with the gigabit switch going to my PC. At the top, we've got my previous router, which is the TP-Link AC1900. Then below, we've got the X10. A little bit of a benefit in download speed, but that obviously could fluctuate depending on how many different people are using the ISP at one time. The previous router was also using wired gigabit as well, so there's pretty much no fluctuation there. Now I did have a play about with the Wi-Fi, and this is where things got really interesting. Given the high gain antennas that are built into this thing and the massive range I expected, I thought we'd just go and just see what we can do with it. So the most portable and convenient option for this was obviously my iPhone. So first of all, we got the result, which is my phone sat on my desk, probably 3.5 meters away. Now I'm on an 80 down and 20 up network. As you saw by the previous results, that stays pretty true when it's on the wide network. So obviously we're not going to get any further than that wireless. Also another thing to note, as I mentioned before, if I'm not using an 802.11ad product, I won't get the 60 GHz frequency that I can actually go up with those crazy bit rates. Obviously we'll see those products come down in price as we progress through the year when it does become a bit more standard. But until that point I'm going to be sticking with 2.4 and 5 GHz. So the first results stayed pretty consistent, about the 46 to 48 megabit download, then about 18 to 19 megabit up. The next test was downstairs by the back door of the house, and that was probably about 10 meters away. Obviously you're going to have walls in there as well if you were to look at it by line of sight. And again, we've got a pretty good connection, so I was impressed with that. Next level was the top of my garden. You're probably looking about 18 meters away, so you're starting to get, you know, fairly far from where the router is. I did have 2 antennas pointing roughly at the back of the house, one to the garden, so obviously that would help a little bit. Still with a fairly decent result. You could just take a laptop out and game outside without a problem. Although gaming over Wi-Fi is something I wouldn't really recommend because you can drop packets quite easily. But this just shows it can be done with those antennas. And then I thought, let's just go absolutely nuts. And this is probably about 30 meters away. So this was right at the back of the garden, and you could still get a decent download speed. So if you're out there just surfing the internet, it's nice to know that you can get really far away and you're not going to have to worry about no connection. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some 802.11ad products as we go further through the year. It'll be really interesting to see what speed benefits we get from this new frequency. But Wi-Fi aside, this is going to be a perfect router for streamers as well. You really rely on that low ping, and also the processor will help you make sure you don't drop any packets when you're uploading as well. You do need a really solid upload connection when you do stream. Something at least 10 megabits, you know, to get a really good quality on Twitch, for example, and this will really help benefit from that as well. Should you not have the option to go hardwired into the gigabit connection, then you can use the Wi-Fi. Of course, the 4 antennas will really benefit the signal. I know there may be a case where you don't want to run a cable along a skirting board, or you physically can't run it just because of the length away you are from the router, or even power lining, for example, you can't do it that way. Then of course the 4 antennas will help you greatly. I've not had any drop packets and had no downtime with the router at all since it's been used. You could also branch into VR gaming as well. You could even stream that because you can support the traffic going through the router to your PC. If you wanted to play back video files through the storage device on the USB router, playing that over to your PC, then on your VR headset, you can do all of that. It can cope with it, no trouble at all. I've put this router through a lot of stress over the time I've been testing it by transferring things across the network using that aggregate connection while editing on my NAS. Been downloading software, uploading YouTube videos, like all at the same time, and it's handled it perfectly. Having that quad-core processor really benefits to get the absolute maximum speed you can across your network. This is now also shown that no matter what networking product I get, unless it's going to match this, then I'm just not going to be happy because I've become a definite speed freak from using the X10. Definitely going to be using the built-in Plex as well with my television when I get that all set up. Makes it a lot less stressful having to add another step by trying to access it from a NAS. And on another note I haven't really touched upon is the aesthetics. I think it just looks absolutely badass. Definitely something out of Transformers, which is always cool. I'm glad we've moved away from the boxy style routers now. We've moved on to things that look just really cool. A lot of old routers you just want to tuck away, whereas this one you're happy to show it as it just looks really awesome. So ultimately a beast of a router. With all this power it comes quite a high price tag, so bear that in mind before you look to purchase one. So moving on from this, I'm looking forward to seeing what we see from the 802.11ad products further on throughout the year. And possibly doing something with that 10 gig SFP port in the back. We'll see, time will tell. Now there's probably a lot of things I've missed, questions you have, but please do comment and let me know down below. Reiterating again the fact that I'm not a networking expert, I just have an enthusiast approach for it. So we'll answer any questions you do have. So please take to the comments box below. I think that's pretty much everything I want to say in this video. It has been another long video, so I appreciate if you watched all the way to the end. If you enjoyed this video and you haven't already, please consider subscribing. I will put the link for this down in the description box below if you want to get one for yourself. A big thank you goes to Netgear for sending this out for me to review. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all in the next video.